So, again, here's Bonnie Parker. She's a burn victim. You can see the burn here, facial burns over here. And her left hand not seen. It's burnt off, probably got infected or burnt just to a crisp. Here's a scar. We'll look at this one scar here on Bonnie Parker. It's a piece of skin is missing. I suspect they used it as a graft. Where did they put it? I don't know. Maybe they put it on the chin. They must have put it someplace important. It looks like they took it off on purpose there. And here to clamp it all down. If you had any doubts that I was wrong about Jean Tiny Evans Smith being Bonnie Parker, here it is. That's the same skin graft they took off the arm that we have over here. Here the hand is rotated a little bit, but you have the same skin graft from same girls. I have identified Jean Tiny Evans Smith as Bonnie Parker. I have confirmed this is a prosthetic hand. She has had her hand burnt off in a fire. There's the graft again. And she has had damage to these fingers. These are burns. Distal portions and medial phalanxes are burnt off. This is the same girl. Bonnie Parker, Jean Tiny Evans Smith, same person, major burn victim. They did all those photographs of Bonnie Parker as a burn victim, major burn victim, missing her left hand with a prosthetic arm and missing portions of her fingers. And here again, this is Bonnie Parker. And you can see the scar on the neck here. It's probably the best view of it. You can't really see this arm, the left arm. There's something covering it. You don't see fingers really. But you get the neck scarring. And here she is again, just to kind of sum it up. Oh, this is what I wanted to show you. So here, you have Jean Tiny Evans Smith, but you can still catch a hint of the scarring up here on the forehead. They must have put something on her to cover this up for this photo shoot. She has them here, and here's the something on the chin. But again, smoking gun here is the skin patch off both their forearms, missing the left hand, and we move on. Oh. All right, if you don't want to see face and hand burns, close your eyes and you'll know when it's over. I'm serious. This is horrible. I just want you to see what we're dealing with. All right, so here, look at the baby first here on the side. This is facial burns. And you're just going to have scarring in here. Nose looks like there's something burned here. I don't know if this is hot water or chemical or whatever, but severe facial burns. These two girls are burn victims, and I'm not sure. Again, I don't have all the details here. It looks like they took a picture of themselves. Hair burnt off, as in the kids had, I don't know if I showed you, but if you go back to look at the kids, the hair is burnt off. They appear to be wearing wigs. In those, here she's wearing a wig. Here, the frozen mouth. This is a little better than that kid we saw in the other one in the front row whose mouth is frozen. You can see all the scarring here in the face. She's got pristine skin here. It's just beautiful. But the face is burned. Here another burn victim, burnt around the face here. They may have done some reconstruction here on the nose, but the neck's burned. And here is a burn in the arm and shoulder. Hands burnt to a crisp here. Burnt and fused over. This is the middle finger and it's over the index finger. It's crossed over and it's burnt into some hodgepodge. Here, thumb burnt off. Here, a pinky burnt off. Gnarly looking fingers. There's a skin graft here. Somehow they managed to get this in place. I'm not sure where exactly this is from, but these things get infected and they have to amputate sometimes. It's just really terrible. All right, so we're going to wrap up. I know I spent a lot of time on Bonnie Parker. I really could have spent a little more, but she's the only one in all this crummy human beings. Well, they don't know it. I mean, who gets a pass? I mean, you have Eva Braun over here, Hitler's mistress. It's not clear that she knew what was going on at the time. And this is Betty Davis over here, and a couple other people I think are relatively famous. All right, so if you remember, here's the photograph, my favorite picture, and this is Bonnie Parker, Clyde Barrow, and here Jean Tiny Evans Smith plays Bonnie Parker. They have done a tremendous, tremendous, tremendous job here. It's just fantastic. For a scam, for a hoax, it's unbelievable. They took the smallest of the small, missing a left arm, left hand, burnt right hand, facial burns, neck burns, and they got her to play the great gun moll of all time, the original gun moll, Bonnie Parker, famed in song and story. Here she has a terrific time with the role. You could tell she's happy, she's excited, and some of the great scenes. But I mean, the people who did this, who were taking the photographs, create a time capsule for people in the future, like ourselves, to see what was going on. I don't think they counted on me figuring it out or explaining to other people. But over here, look at the hands on this person. I had showed the picture to somebody, and I said, the hands look peculiar. I mean, there's a couple of other people, peculiar hands, like this hand looks peculiar here also. And I just don't have time to review if this wasn't one of the other kids. But in any case, the person I asked said all the hands look peculiar. So I took a careful look at this one, and you got to realize that they used props here, like the Dillinger prop. This is John Dillinger, and he's got this stick here. They handed it to him, and Melvin Purvis, aka Bert Felstead, is looking at him, but it's a prop, and they handed it to him. They wanted it in the picture. And here what I think they did was they laid artificial hands, prosthetic hands on this woman's shoulder. I think they may have done it close to the last minute. The sleeve does not connect here properly. The sleeve must have moved over, or the prosthetic slipped over, but this is not somebody's hand here. This is Betty Davis back here, and the shoulder would be very bizarre coming down, but this is, again, coming off here. This would have been a very difficult hand to come off Betty Davis because her left arm would have had to come around. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible, but this is not possible. It's not possible here that this hand comes outside the sleeve. What I think they did, again, time capsule, it's a prop, and it looks like everybody had a pretty good laugh about it. Whoever put that over here, I think, is standing on the outside and forward on the right side of the screen. He would be a couple feet forward. She's looking at him, and she's looking over at him. So she's looking over. Everybody's kind of laughing. They're having a good time. And Jean Tiny Evans Smith, the heroine, I mean, she's the anti-hero of the Bonnie and Clyde shooting hoax, has a grim look on her face. And this is not Jean Tiny Evans Smith. I mean, you could see her earlier in one of the photos. She's smiling. She's sitting there. She looks great in the Bonnie Parker stuff. She's a terrific little person. Again, burnt to a crisp, missing an arm, tiny as tiny can be. Here it's sort of a bit humiliating that you have an amputee here, and then they took these prosthetics and they put them on this woman's shoulders, and it's a prop. And again, it's like the Dillinger shooting. They put a prop in his hand, and here Bert Felstead, aka Melvin Purvis, looks down at Arthur Humberstone, aka John Dillinger. Now, I promised I'd show the slide. I promised a couple times. I've been teasing everybody with it. You actually have enough information to figure it out yourself, pretty much. Nah, maybe not. But in any case, I've showed you who played the Nazis: Hitler, Eva Braun, the cast of Gone with the Wind at the Berghof, Goebbels, and it only gets worse. That's the issue here. It only gets worse. Whatever I show you only gets worse. So here was the original slide. And I told you this guy over here, these two guys, very uncool, with Pat Griffin. Pat Griffin played Albert Speer, the Nazi. And so why is it uncool? This is Bert Felstead, who plays an FBI agent. So that's Melvin Purvis. Melvin Purvis shoots John Dillinger, is at the same table as Albert Speer, Pat Griffin, who plays Albert Speer, Nazi Minister of Armaments. And, again, here's the famous G-Man. But so here we have this other guy here. I guess I belabored this a little, but let's move on. This guy here is Lester Kimball. He's the FBI special prosecutor for John Dillinger. So again, another the federal agent is a prosecutor. And this is Dillinger's attorney, John Dillinger's attorney. That's David Hand, who I showed earlier, I believe is Robert Mitchum. Frank Albert Claus from the Barrow Gang. And you have a tremendous mix of people at this one table. You're not supposed to know who they are. And it doesn't identify it in the Moor Hall Studios. It gives you, this is Ralph Ayres and David Hand and Pat Griffin, Henry Stringer. Or Henry Stringer, I don't know. This is the only guy I don't have. I looked for him. I can't find him. So what do you have here? Let's go through it just once more. Frank Albert Claus from the Barrow Gang. John Dillinger's attorney. Nazi Minister of Armaments, Albert Speer. FBI Special Prosecutor Lester Kimball. And this is Melvin Purvis of the FBI. It's ridiculous. They have them all at this table, all sitting together. And the question is, what's going on here? You have a Nazi, an FBI agent, FBI criminal prosecutor, John Dillinger's lawyer, and one of the Bonnie and Clyde gang. Are these people playing both sides? The answer is no. These people play only one side, their side. These are the actors, henchmen, the people who control the world, the globalists. They create war, they destroy people, they enslave people, they create both fake and real scenarios, heavy-handed laws, change public opinion, create agencies to enforce their will. And I'll make this up. You guys can review the material yourself. It's all in black and white. Slides are not altered. And we move on to J. Edgar Hoover.